Hello everybody and welcome to Civ House. I'm Rob, and you may notice that today I don't have maybe as much of an upbeat tone with this opening because we are going to be talking about something that's unfortunate, which it looks like 2K is confirming that there are layoffs at Firaxis, obviously the developer of the Civilization games, and this is something that was brought to my attention. I want to give a quick shout out to XY Rock on Twitter. They reached out to me and asked if I had seen this information. I had not. I had been working on some other things here at the Game House when this was brought to my attention. So thank you very much, by the way, for letting me know. You guys can reach out to me here on Twitter. You can find me right there at TGH Robert Haynes. Feel free to throw a follow as well. And with that, before we dive deeper, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to try to keep you guys up to date on all things Civilization. Myself and Connor will be doing videos. If you are new, you know, or if you're new, you don't know that. If you're not new, you do know. So let me know in the comments section below your guys' thoughts and opinions on these. I'm going to talk about this with as much discretion and respect as I can for these individuals who have at least confirmed that they have lost their jobs so far. There's a group over at Reddit who's been keeping track of some of this, so there may be more people who will come out who may be even bigger, or, you know, these people who are being let go might be pretty big. I don't know exactly. I'll kind of walk you guys through what I'm seeing so far, and then I'll just kind of discuss what this means for us as Civilization fans overall. So, you know, this article from Game Developer, I guess there had been rumors going around that 2K was laying some people off, and then this Game Developer company reached out to Firaxis Games and said there was a staff reduction today, and, you know, as the studio restructures and optimizes for adaptability, collaboration, and creativity, there were some other people who got laid off. Then they just kind of go through, you know, everything else that's happening. This is happening across the 2K, you know, I guess ecosystem, I would call it, for all of their games, or at least a lot of them as well, which is, you know, unfortunate to say the least, but this is what has been happening at 2K. I'll give you guys a grander scope of everything as well here, but I at least wanted to give you guys kind of what's happening right now with this. Here are as well some of the people who have been let go: Matthew Davis, Emma Kidwell, Brian Tomey, Maya, I don't know what their last name is, and then Erica Ward as well. And these are their, I guess, titles and things that they do. So lead character artist at Firaxis Games. So, like, the person who has made all of our leaders and stuff, or at least approved them, it would seem, is out there. Senior technical animator, somebody as well who was making all the different animations for the game. This person was a producer, I'm guessing, a mid-level producer for, it looks like, Marvel Midnight Suns and Civilization 7. This individual was a character animator as well. And then this one, Emma, was a person who had been a writer for Civilization 7 and Marvel's Midnight Suns. So, very obviously terrible for these people. When you kind of look at Firaxis as a whole, I went here, this is Crunchbase. It kind of talks about, you know, how the ups and downs of what's been going with growth or not growth. You can kind of see, like, as games release, you know, growth goes up, essentially. Their heat score had been doing pretty well until, well, we got to Civilization 7. Then things started to trend downward a little bit. There are, according to at least this website, anywhere between 50 to 100 different people who are working over at Firaxis Games. So a pretty substantial amount for a studio, without a doubt. And, you know, obviously I just wanted to show, like, kind of the lists of different games. You know, their obviously biggest things are XCOM and the Civilization games right now. As you can see, that's pretty much all they've done. Did a little Ace Patrol, stepped in and did some Marvel Midnight Sun as well. And, you know, also, by the way, when I was looking at this, I realized we may not be getting expansions as soon as I had thought. The only reason I thought that was based on the way that they were talking about everything, but I kind of forgot that basically for Civs 5 and 6, by the way, they came out about 2 years-ish, year and a half, 2 years after the release of the main games. So, and then they had back-to-back years of it. So I just didn't know if maybe, because they are releasing things already at a very different pace than they had been with Civilizations 5 and 6. So I thought, maybe things would be a little different when I've been making my predictions, but we'll see. Either way, that's for a different video. I'm going to focus on these people. I want to start by saying, when you're looking at the whole ecosystem of gaming right now, layoffs are pretty abound, right? They are pretty much everywhere at this point. Not even just in gaming, but realistically, kind of everywhere in business and around the world, at least in the United States, I know for sure. And, this is kind of the time when people do get laid off. So, you're finishing quarter 3, getting ready for quarter 4. You have your year end and quarter kind of like financial statements and summaries, depending on the fiscal year that a company does. I won't get too deep into it, but that's generally speaking. This is kind of a time when a lot of people get laid off, unfortunately, and we've seen it a lot of different places. I know somebody, familial-wise, who just got laid off their job this week. I know somebody at my fiance's company who got laid off. Like, there are people getting laid off everywhere right now. So this is not just a Firaxis Games thing. This is not just a 2K thing. Again, that doesn't take away from what is an awful day for all of these many people who are getting laid off. When I'm looking at a lot of these things as well, Matthew Davis is a pretty big deal, it looks like, to be getting laid off. The lead character artist. Now, that doesn't mean that obviously somebody else is going to step up into that role, most likely, right? When you look at like senior technical animator as well, where it looks like they are getting hit right now is in the animation studios. And what we saw with the 2020 like gaming boom, essentially, when everybody was stuck at home, right, because of COVID, what ended up happening was a lot of these companies made a ton of money during that time period because people were gaming at an extraordinary rate pretty much between 2019 and 2021. Now things have started to cool off over the last few years. Games are being produced at an extraordinary rate. A lot of people got hired, but a lot of people are getting let go from those hiring sessions, or a lot of those companies that made a lot of hires are starting to let people go now because the financial projections are not lining up as well. And I'm sure with Civ 7 not doing as well lately, even though it sounds like it did very well at the beginning, I'm really interested to see what those financial projections, or what they at least have made officially so far, when those come out for 2K, because they are a public company, so we should be able to see at least how many units and about how much money has been made so far at some point when those financials come out. All of this is to say that these are people who probably potentially may have had a redundant position, right? And may not be that, Matthew Davis, again, I'm going to focus on him, lead character artist. Obviously, losing your lead for something is not great, and filling it with somebody with less experience, most likely, is not as ideal either. It's a new opportunity for somebody else. I'm not saying that they're necessarily like redundant in themselves, but those types of positions are, right? A writer. I'm sure Firaxis has multiple writers. Unfortunately, it looks like Emma may have been the one to lose her job of the many different writers that are at Firaxis Games. Same thing with these animators, right? These are things that happen, and it's awful. And it's really sad to see here at Firaxis. And I think overall this does speak volumes to the overall gaming, just everything, like where we are, I guess I'd call it the gaming scene, where we are as, as a scene for gaming overall. And it's not a surprise right now. I think, gaming has had a lot of layoffs over the last year and a half, 2 years specifically. I have covered the esports scene extensively. Many esports teams either don't exist or have been laid off. A lot of people, Riot Games, Blizzard, Activision, wherever, there's just a lot of layoffs lately, and it's all stemming from those 2020 years. And I think a company like 2K was hoping that if Firaxis Games, with this new title, they're only their second one really since 2020, since COVID, Yeah, they were probably waiting to see how this one would do, and if it just absolutely crushed expectations, right, maybe they wouldn't need to lay people off. But again, unfortunately, it comes down to like business. I think most likely, with a lot of these positions, they're trying to keep their profit margins at a certain level. It's all business, boo-hoo, woo-hoo, whatever you want to call it. And it is really, really unfortunate. I feel for all of these people out there. I know how tough it has been even here at Gamehouse. We've had to make, cuts and stuff over the last couple of years because of such a huge decline in gaming as a whole and overall. And a lot of you are in it, so maybe you don't really notice it, right? Or maybe your favorite games maybe, or people have not really been laid off. But like even like Twitch and YouTube revenues, like everything is kind of down across the board in that regard. So this is really sad, honestly. I feel for these people. I wanted to talk about it, give them my condolences, obviously, from those of us who have loved Civilization games and what has happened over at Firaxis. A lot of these people, it looks like, have been there for a long time and created some incredible games, to say the least. So I'm really sorry for them. And what I think this means for Civilization overall, I don't think it's going to stop their plans going forward, depending on how many people that they have let go. If it is in the dozens that it is saying here, specifically at Firaxis, then like if these are, if it's 12 to 24 people and these numbers, where is this? This number is correct, they're losing anywhere from 20 to 40% of the people who work at Firaxis. While I don't think, again, that will affect us in the short term, in the long term, that may affect us greatly, by the way. We may be getting less content because, they have to either train or figure out what they're going to do without somebody who's making these new lead characters, without an extra person there who's doing the writing for these games, without these people here who are making all the different awesome animations to bring these characters to life. We may be getting less of that content now. So we will have to be on the lookout. Again, we have been waiting for a while to hear what is going to be coming next month. We get closer and closer to that October date. What is happening with this roadmap? What are our expectations for Civilization 7 moving forward? And having layoffs around this time is not ideal, to say the least. I'm sure a lot, again, of what they have coming up here over the next 3 to 6 months is probably ready to ship for the most part. But, there are still plenty of things to come for our future. There are expansions that will be added, new, leaders, new just everything, new civs, right? And there are less people to make it. So unfortunately, the people at Firaxis are going to probably be overworked and we may get less content. So that's kind of what this means. Again, I really appreciate XY Rock for letting me know about this. I wanted to give some thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think below. Just make sure, to just show them some love, show these people some love, because it's a hard day when you lose your job, and especially in a world right now where for gaming in specifically, there are not going to be a ton of job openings in the current market. So we will have to see how things go. I hope the best for them. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us on this one. So from our house to yours, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us for one more turn.